Pardon?
So he's hard-headed as fuck and doesn't listen.
And we should be back up and actually legible now.
Okay.
I just need to build a small dock concentration camp for him, and then disciplining will begin. Anyway.
Okay. Where was I? Oh yes. All right. So with Zai, when we left off with your character, you and Lyra have been escorted into the main city that is actual Nirvana, via a Raptor-driven carriage with an escort of Raptor knights. You guys took the Viridian Road, as is normal, to get there. You guys have just arrived in the main city of Nirvana. By the way, the actual city of Nirvana is quite possibly far the most impressive thing you've ever seen. If you thought Fariona looked nice, this makes Fariona by comparison look, well, quite inferior. The street lights, quote unquote, are actually like, well, it's more like trees growing out of the ground that have some kind of magical glowing leaf that keep the streets lit at night. The streets are busy. You can tell there aren't as many buildings per se, but there are a lot of tree homes. Where there are buildings, they are very tall though, um, and they're very tall, well built, and well kept. There's large populations of elf here, even more so than even more so than back in. Oh, and I can't believe I've forgotten the name of the town. So bad of me. It's because I haven't said it in a long time. Oh,
It
this is the
happens.
problem. This is the problem when you have to take a week off because you get food poisoning. Okay, and you got that's right, Neowin. All right. You guys are currently headed towards one of the larger buildings inside the city, um, which is and you are told that you are headed towards holy ground, so to speak. You two are both currently inside a carriage at the moment. Lyra has been increasingly quiet the entire time.
Commoring Penny for your thoughts. Or would it
She
be
simply
copper for your cognitives? I don't know.
How about silver for your smarts? Ha ha ha. But no. Um, she simply remains quiet.
Platinum for your ponderings, but let's get that out of the way. I needed to.
Okay.
You're worried, aren't you?
Lyra is a bit worried about what is going to happen while she's here. She's also slightly worried about how Kaladin feels about all this.
Well, all things considered, the city looks nice, I guess.
Lyra nods her head, yes. It's possibly the best city that we have been to yet. Lyra wishes that she could share what she's seeing with the rest of the crew, though she realizes this is not going to happen.
It could happen. But then that'd be a bit complicated, wouldn't it?
Lyra nods her head, yes. And as you are about to continue your statement, one of the Raptor Knights who had been escorting you to so pokes his head inside as he goes, Milady and
Thamos.
yes, I know you have a name, but what is your relation?
Bodyguard.
Right, bodyguard. He says, looking at your muscular build and kind of doubting it. Right, and your bodyguard, you are to have an audience with the High Council. Don't worry, nothing bad is going to happen to you this time. They simply wish to meet with you and have a few words. An official meeting will be held for you guys tomorrow. This is just simply a preliminary, if you would.
What if they won't?
Too bad.
Comring Lima, for now we'll listen to what they want from us. And remember what our discussion was. You remember?
Lyra shakes her head no.
Okay. Because I remember texting you all this, but I guess I have to do that again. So when we go in there, since this is only a preliminary thing, we just listen out. Listen to what they want, what their, say, offers are. That's what I come to the conclusion it's going to be. And we won't say much. Then we'll probably try to excuse ourselves to maybe gather our thoughts, think over it over the night. We'll discuss further then.
Lyra nods her head yes. As Dean, as the knight still saying outside, he's like, Milady and her bodyguard, we are waiting.
I give him a nod and gesture, let Lyra exit the caravan first.
All right, and he gives her a hand out, but does not help you out at all.
He doesn't care. He just shrugs.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys to this map. When you walk, by the way, this is just the main chamber of the building that is right here. This isn't the entire building. As you approach this
Just
building,
a heads up, it'll take me a while. It'll take me a while to load the map, so just describe it for me for now.
Okay. As you walk, the outside appearance of the building is it appears like giant white ivory towers spearing forth from the ground. They take you inside the ground, and most of the grounds are submerged in water, but there are clear paths that are very well kept. No, not even a drop of water is on them, despite the fact that they are running side by side with water, that lead you deeper into the chambers. They take you up a few stairs, down a few stairs, during which time you get to admire the amazing architectural work of this place. Some very fine paintings, and of course, some very nice Dravanan art, some very Dravanan sculptures and things like that. Most of the people, as you walk by, kind of seem to somewhat bow to Lyra, most of them being common elves and things like that. Common elf, half elves. You notice there are no, how do I put this? Non-elves in this building. Have you finished loading yet?
Still 1038.
It's not loading for me either.
Gnome,
Taking
has it
long
loaded
enough.
for you?
25 out of 38.
Well, to be fair, you have to share with all of us at the moment, so it might take a while. So
Right. All right. Okay, so when you reach the final chambers, they are covered by, I would say more like the doors are less made out of wood or even stone, more like a crystalline substance with magical runes inscribed onto them. The Dravanan knights who have escorted you up to this point walk up to the door, speak something in a language you are not familiar with to the door, and place their hands on it as the doors open, revealing a very, very, very large chamber inside, lit by many, many, many magical fonts. You can count at least one, two. Let's see. There are at least 13 magical fonts in this room. You see a staircase that leads up, and how do I put it? I'm obviously not an architect here, but there's a raised. It's not platform. God, what is the? It's kind of like what you see at the Olympics. The place where they
a pedestal?
Podium?
The podium is not correct, and neither is pedestal, but it's closer than saying a. It's essentially a large squared area that's somewhat sloped, except for the staircase. It's almost temple. It's
Incline?
almost. Say what now?
Incline?
It is. Yes, there is an incline, but it's kind of like there is a raised platform, but it's. I wouldn't. It's the correct term would not be a platform.
Oh, hey, it loaded.
It's all right. Raised platform, lots of grooves on it. It's somewhat sloped, except for the very apparent stairwell that leads up to the very top of it.
Hmm.
All right. Have you finished loading,
No,
Zai?
internet's capped, so it's gonna be a while. So
Nobody has
I'm.
finished loading.
How important will the map be, essentially?
I'm
if you
finished
think
Correction,
it's
I just
important?
finished loading.
Well, it looks like you're gonna have to fight some huge golems, so pretty important.
I wasn't going to point those out until they walked past them, but yes.
Those are big.
Good
The
luck.
thing is, though, theoretically, it should. The more people finish, the faster it should go for the remaining ones.
Correct. Cybot, did you finish?
Just did.
And Robot, what about you?
14 of 38.
That's very, very slow. However, if you have other maps that are only relevant for Kaladin, it might be best to just tell Zai to change there.
Right. All right. So, I'm just going to move along with the actual storytelling part. All right. So, the two Raptor knights who escorted you close the doors behind you and point you forward as they just as one of them says, if you'll just make your way up the staircase and step your way into the pool. Turns to the bodyguard and don't do anything stupid. If you may or may not have noticed, but we have executor golems positioned in multiple places around the sanctuary, as long as
I would do
well
nothing to
as well as the fact that every
disrespect
Dravana knight
that.
here was a candidate for captain at one point.
I
I do
think you
nothing
should fight them.
so bold as to disrespect this holy ground. I only wish for
Good.
my mistress's safety.
Good. If you would mind not stepping in the pool, though.
Kaladin nods.
All right. You guys proceed forward. These two Raptor Knights, of course, stepping aside as you guys make your way there. Step your way forward onto this little pool. There is about a 3-foot drop down into this pool of water, and the pool of water itself looks to be somewhat deep itself. It's going to be at least waist height on most people. Um, now
So wait,
you
is it I
now
can't follow them anymore, or is it just like, oh, they're gonna go in the pool and
this would be
we
the point
continue
that
our
you can
way?
no longer proceed forward as yourself. At this point, this is where I point out you see the other members. You see the other members of the High Council. Rather than seeing people, what you see are don't want to say hologram. Hologram is not the correct word. You see gigantic projected images made of magic. Yes, we'll go with that.
Illusions.
Yes, of I believe I have 6 of the council members, where there are 9 of them in total. We have 6 council members that are here. The one on the center right speaks as she says, hold on, you're typing something, I'm wait. Did the map finally load for you, by the way?
No, it's still on 1038.
All right, I'm just gonna do something for the rest of the people, so... Okay. So, the woman on the middle right for me, this one right here, communications do not go through. Nope, communications are not working in this room.
This is troublesome.
So as I was saying, this fine lady right here, her projected image turns to Lyra as she says, "Young lady, would you please mind stepping forward into the pool? And your escort, if you wouldn't mind, take a few steps back away."
Callum bows and takes a few steps back.
Um, Lyra looks back a bit nervous and steps forward into the pool. Surprisingly, she does not sink in it but stands on it, although she looks very awkward when she's doing so. Um, the counselors, however, in the room seem to ignore the fact that she is feeling uncomfortable and tell her to proceed forward until she's at least reached the center of the pool, which slowly she does proceed to do. Well, slowly and awkwardly, I might have to add. Um, as soon as she has comfortably made her way to the center of the room,
Say, I sent something to you in Skype that you may want to check, is all. Just
right?
in case.
So she goes head steps into the center of the room, and when she awkwardly tries to stand on said water, the high councilmen, who had been a little tense at this moment, somewhat relax. Starting with this chap right here. His image brightens up with a smile as he goes, "So, we are told that you are a high elf not unlike ourselves." Lyra looks left, looks right, and simply nods her head yes, as he goes, "Good, good. And do you have a name?" Lyra hesitates for a moment before she responds back, "I am called Lyra." The man nods his head. He's like, "Well, then allow the rest of us who are currently here to introduce ourselves. I'm High Counselor Dubonor Hartgren. Um, this one right here. I am High Counselor Ellis Nurgle Shadekiller. High Counselor Seahead Cloudcall. High Counselor Leol Star Tracker. High Counselor Ifrith Hope Rule. High Counselor Eligor Redquest." Um, Lyra kind of bows as they say, "No need for formalities here. We are simply here to ask you a few simple questions. Where is it that you hail from? I'm not sure if you've been informed, but people of our kind are exceedingly rare, and it is of utmost interest in figuring out where exactly your origins are from." Um, Lyra looks down at her com ring for a moment. Clearly, she's been trying to make communications, as the as High Counselor Cloudclaw says, "If you're trying to communicate with someone via telepathy, that will not work here. We have cut off all telepathic links in this room for what's the word I'm looking for here?
Security purposes?
Yeah, security purposes." Lyra looks uh a bit embarrassed as she goes, "I my youngest memory I recall, I I was in Dohiran." They all look a little surprised as they go. As this time, Redquest goes, I am a bit familiar with Dohiran. I've been in contact with their king. How does old Wow, I can't believe. Yeah, it's Cranclaw. How is old Cranclaw doing? Lyra is silent for a moment. Lyra wishes to know. When she refers to herself as Lyra, you see some of the councilmen kind of raise an eyebrow for a moment. Um, the Cranclaw you probably know is Red Quest nods his head. He's like, I have received some messages that he is no longer with us. If that is the case, then how is the new ruler? What is his name? Lyra takes a deep breath. She goes, the new ruler is in fact his son, and he is a kind and generous man. I believe you guys would be well to keep in contact with him. Red Quest nods his head. As High Counselor Hartgren goes, all right, so you were born in Thohiran. What exactly was your profession while you were in Thohiran? Lyra once again hesitates as she looks back at as she turns full around back to Calden, panicked.
I don't know if you understand sign language, but I'm just gonna try anyway. Just sign to her that she was. What's the word I'm looking for? I know it in Malay, but I can't remember what it is in English.
Multilingual
She's
problems.
yeah. Oh wait. Okay, I'll just say it out literally. She like served with alongside one of the nobles.
All right, yeah, all right. She looks at your hand signs and has no idea what they mean.
That's one way of solving it.
As she turns back around and goes, Lyra was a simple worker in Thohiran. Some of the high counts. I would say in particular, Red Quest raised his eyebrow as he goes, who exactly was it that you were working for if you were a simple worker? I'm quite familiar with a lot of the dwarven mine owners and such. Lyra kind of stutters a bit as she says, I Dukin? Red Quest kind of nods his head. He's like, I Dukin was a good man. I heard he met an unfortunate end, though. Lyra kind
Kind
of.
of like he like hopefully the countenance, but he kind of like with the rest
Uh,
of it, you can see a little drop in his shoulders. Like
I'd expect him to spit in the pool.
right. So, you were born in Thohiran, is what you're saying, correct? If I'm understanding you correctly, says I'm a High Counselor Star Tracker. Um, Lyra nods her head as he goes. And do you perchance know the name of your parents or anything like that? Um, Lyra becomes quiet as Lyra says, Lyra never had the chance to know her parents. Star Tracker nods his head as he goes, I see. So you see him turn to Cloud Claw as he goes, perchance later on we should run a star reading on her to try and figure out her origins, try and figure out what led to the birth of this particular high elf. Lyra's eyes kind of widen a bit as Heartgrin goes, I believe that would be a bit rude to the lady. And turns back to her. All right then. So, it can be assumed that from what you've said that you would still be working in the mine had some event not triggered your hasty leave of Dohiran. What exactly is it that you have left Dohiran for? Did you come here knowing that you were a high elf and seeking to join us, or did you leave for some other purpose? Um, Lyra left because she no longer wished to work in Thohiran. She wished to see the world and experience things that she had not been able to experience while in Thohiran. Um, Hope Rule kind of laughs a bit. She goes, "The spirit of inquiry. That's not all that rare in our kind. Hopefully your days of adventure have not led you to too many unfortunate times. Uh, Lyra just kind of sits there once again, just not knowing, not too much knowing how to respond. As Harkrin goes, "Well, Miss Lyra, was it?" Lyra nods her head, yes. From what we can tell, you have lived most of your life not really knowing that you are a high elf, and there are a lot of things that you are unaware of when it comes to being one. As far as we can see that your high elven blood, for the most part, has never been acknowledged, or for that matter, you've not been exposed to the necessary means to bring out your full potential. We intend to change this. That is, of course, if we can get your agreement. Now, mind you, we're not going to force you to make this kind of decision. We'll give you some time to mull over it. And of course, we will not be doing any permanent actions without the full council being here. However, keep in mind that this is inevitably our goal. Lyra nods her head yes. Being as you are, though, we are providing you with room and services as appropriate for one of us until you have come to the conclusion and the other high counselors make face. We are aware that you have brought your own bodyguard with you. However, we feel that not knowing his talents or his own skills, we will assign our own bodyguards that are a slight bit more trustworthy. You must understand that you are of value, and the idea of you being injured or hurt displeases us. Lyra nods her head as
Kaladin kind of raises his arm just to test the waters.
they ignore you. Hartgren continues on as he goes, "We will most likely provide your bodyguard with another place to stay for the night, not within the temple grounds,
Please.
mind you." Lyra speaks up. She goes, "Lyra wishes to object to this." Um, as she says that, Shade Killer kind of perks up a bit as she goes, "I've noticed something very strange. Why do you continue to refer to yourself as Lyra?" Lyra remains quiet for a bit.
And Kaladin gets popcorn.
I'm kind of like that dude. Like on, think I'm waiting outside the ER with my hat, with my forehead in my bald fists right now. Kind of.
Right. Lyra is. It is a habit that I picked up when I was working in the mines. I. It is easier when you are working in the mine to refer to each other by name, as sometimes voice is not always portrayed properly through the crystal structures. Shade Killer mulls it for a moment. She's like, "That seems quite reasonable, and it makes a lot of sense."
Bluff.
Right. Heartgrin says, "But right, you say you have objections to your bodyguard being placed in a different area than yourself?" Lyra nods her head. Oh, damn it, phone. No. All right. Lyra nods her head. Yes, she goes, "That is correct. Lyra has been traveling with Kaladin for a very long time now. Lyra believes that she can trust him more than she can trust your own bodyguards. Lyra, of course, means no offense by this, but Lyra would like to keep the people that she trusts close." The only guard next to you is an executioner golem, I might add.
Damn it! I thought there'd be like a guard standing next
No,
to me.
no,
I
no,
was
no,
like,
no. They are staying back. They didn't even climb the stairs.
hmm.
Them golems
Um,
scary, yo.
Then there's no permission. I will have to stay still for now.
Right.
You
So,
could always fly over the water.
I still think you
No,
should
no,
fight
no.
the golems.
That- It's more like I don't want to reach into my pocket and pull out a drink, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Where you know what I'm saying?
Hey man, they only said you couldn't touch the water. They specified nothing else.
Don't listen to Gnome, he'll get you killed.
But technically
I know.
correct, best
Don't
kind of
worry.
correct.
Gnome is not UA. I would like to point that out.
Well, we both end up getting people killed, I'm sure. But anyhow.
Let us continue.
Right.
So that
So wait, are you going to
spot.
reach in? Are you going to reach in your pocket?
No,
for a
I'm
drink,
not.
though?
I am not.
All right.
Ooh.
Lyra goes ahead and says, God damn it, I did kind of lose my train of thought. I think Lyra already explained that her reasons for why she wants to keep
Something
you
about
close.
trust. Yes.
Yes. Heartgrin nods his head. He's like, your points are reasonable enough. And we did kind of call you here on the fly and without really much forewarning so that you could prepare your own retinue of guards. So if you trust this Kaladin so much, we will allow him to stay close.
Calvin just bows in the
Lyra
background.
bows. Lyra bows as well as she goes, I thank you, High Counselor Heartgrin. Heartgrin kind of nods his head. He's like, right. With that being said, you may leave now. The knights here will escort you to your room for the moment. We ask simply that you do not leave your room during the time that you are here. If you need anything, you need only tell the guards, or your own guard, I'm assuming, to go and retrieve it for you. Lyra nods her head as as she turns around. As she turns around, Shade Killer says, "Oh, and dear, please do work on that calling yourself by Lyra thing. I understand that it's a habit you developed working in the mine, but when you say it the way you do, you sound like a slave girl." Lyra just kind of tightens up a bit and walks out, climbing her way out.
Calvin puts out her hand puts out his hand.
Lyra shakes her head. No.
Nods back. Turns around.
All right.
Follows her out.
Alrighty. So, you two are escorted to another part of of this temple. It is a very nice room, very big. There is a king size bed for one person, I might add. Food already set up, and it looks like somewhat of a dining area even. Like even the fanciest hotel room really couldn't even compare to this, to be honest. As the Raptor Knights who escorted you go, we'll leave you two to your own devices. If you need anything, we'll be just outside. They say turning to wow, still 10 out of 38. That's ridiculous. All right. Um they turn to Lyra specifically and says, "And if your bodyguard gets unruly, you let us know. We'll be in here in an instant." And then they walk out. Lyra finally takes a breath of relief as she goes, Lyra has never felt so stressed before in her entire life.
I want to hug you, but somehow I think there's cameras around.
Lyra would not doubt this.
All right, all right. Have a seat at the bed first. Let's just wind down for now. We need to talk. We need to think this over right
Magical
now.
security.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'll just avoid from
I wasn't
saying
gonna say
a few
anything.
things. We just
Alrighty.
sit down, take a load off.
Alright. She also sits down on the bed as well as she goes,
I'm not in bed. I'm not in the bed. I'm like, I'll pull a chair over.
okay, Lyra is going to sit on the bed though. Lyra pushes down the bed as a bit as she goes, this bed is too firm. Lyra is not used
Must not be used often.
You have to let her sleep on you.
Anyway. Ugh.
I don't think so.
Who thinks worse?
All right. So Lyra goes. Lyra is not 100% sure exactly what to do. Lyra got by saying what she said, but she's not certain if the High Council bought it all.
That's the thing right now. It's hard for you to, you know, for us to be saying these kind of things. So I'm not sure if we should just come clean, but that might be bad. Definitely bad. Hmm.
Lyra
Callan is
definitely
making a
has a
point to keep his voice really low.
Lyra's always got her. Oh, Lyra's voice is almost always low, so that's not really a problem for her. Lyra goes ahead and says, Lyra is not 100% certain that they are actually going to let Lyra leave if she objects to their rituals or whatever it is they're going to do to Lyra. As a matter of fact, Lyra is fairly certain that this room has just become Lyra's new prison.
That's what I'm most afraid of. But what do we do?
Lyra is not certain. Have you been able to get a hold of the captain during this entire time?
Callan shakes his head. All communique is down from in here. Did they say I could leave? The only way I think I could get into communication with them is if I left this building. But that also be bad because
Lyra
I'd
shakes her
have
head no.
trouble
She's
coming
like,
back in.
yeah, Lyra shakes her head no. She's like, Lyra does not believe you should leave. She gets the feeling that if you leave, you're not going to be able to come back.
We're on our own. This sucks. Hmm. Maybe a more mundane means to communicate, but then they wouldn't know where to find us. Perhaps if you requested it, because right now they're trying to lick your boots. We could get some communication set up for us and between us and the captain, at least.
Lyra nods her head. As she goes, Lyra will try that in just a bit. She still needs to get her head wrapped around some things that are going around.
Okay, let's think about things to say. Obviously, we know we already discussed what we can't say, right? Remember?
Lyra nods her head. She's like, Lyra now remembers that she's now that she's not. Well, now that she's doesn't feel like she's about to be skewered if she says the wrong words.
That's the thing. I don't know if it will help, like being more. What would be easier for you to lie through your teeth or to just be honest with your feelings?
Lyra gets the feeling she only gets so far with lying. Lyra is not the
Yeah,
best
I thought so as
liar.
well. Right.
So Lyra, that's why Lyra's done her best to what she said. That's what she said so far. While it is not a lie, it is not the complete truth.
That'll be as good as it gets from now. No, but in terms of what information we can and can't give, we can and can't
Lyra
give.
is not exactly certain what kind of question she should be expecting, though. She doesn't know how to
Exactly.
prepare to answer.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Do you
But
have any
go
idea of
ahead
the
and
questions they'll continue to ask Lyra so that she can practice some answers?
in terms of uh, answer questions, what kind of questions would they ask? So far, they asked where you're from, what was your profession, perhaps how you feel about this place, um, exactly what you were doing down the mines. Since we're in that situation where we have to answer for that. Probably how you're treated on the ship or what you've been doing since you left Zorhiran.
Lyra nods her head a bit. Lyra thinks she can come up with some reasonable excuses for those ones.
Right. But in terms of your opinions, I say just be honest with them, because being what you are to them, I think your opinions have some value. Well, they always have for me, but in that high council, they would at least hear you out.
Lyra nods her head. At this point, there is a knock on the door.
Lyra, answer it. I mean, beckon.
Lyra looks at you. She's like, "You're Lyra. You're supposed to be Lyra's bodyguard.
Right, right,
Obviously, you
right, right.
answer
That's
the
the thing.
door."
That is okay. I'll go to the door. Right, right, right. Khaled opens the door.
Standing there is actually a one of the Raptor Knights.
Khaled gives a light bow.
He goes, "Kaladin, isn't it?
Indeed.
We have a room prepared nearby for you. Would you like for me to show you to it?"
Let me ask my mistress if she wants me to leave her side. If that is not the case, then it'll be fine. Mistress?
Lyra shakes her head no.
Well, mistress has spoken. I stay.
I must insist that I show you your room.
But I only follow my mistress's wishes. I'm sorry. Unless you can convince her that I should leave, it's not going to happen.
I'll stay for now. I'll be back momentarily. He says as he closes the door and leaves.
We can get more company later, huh?
Um, Lyra nods her head. She goes, "I believe that they're trying to have someone speak to me alone."
Should we let that? Should we let that happen? Hold on. Khaled, well, Khaled will pop a drink open. And he drinks a, what's it? What I call it again?
Wine?
Oh. No, 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 no. It's a potion.
Ah.
Hold on. What's it called? An arcane sight potion.
All right. The arcane sight one allows you to see magic, correct? Magical auras, right?
It allows me to see magical items and determine its strength as well. In like 120 feet. I can't really open the link because my internet's so slow. So
Okay, no, that's fine. So as you drink this potion, this room is bugged as fuck.
yeah, thought so.
Like some of the light fixtures are bugged. A few of the small little decor items in the room, small magical items they're small magical items meant for observance, and of course, a lot of the statues in the room are also the same thing.
And this is why I have a bag of holding.